Welcome to ABCNYS Today, a brief, regular audio update helping to keep our American Baptist community in New York connected. And in this episode, we are all biennial all the time, October 9th through 10th at the Kenmore Baptist Church, and we're excited. In fact, we begin with a greeting from our host pastor, Brian Wheeler, and he's going to give us a welcome from the front lawn of the church, so you'll hear some of the traffic noise as he greets us with a great welcome.
Well, greetings everybody from Kenmore Baptist Church. My name is Brian Wheeler. I am honored to be the lead pastor here. We as a congregation are so excited that the ABC family is going to shuffle up to Buffalo. We can't wait to see you in October. Make sure you're here, Kenmore Baptist Church. We'll see you soon.
Every biennial has a theme, and our Vice President, Delma West, is going to take a minute to try to address that theme.
Yes, the theme for this biennial is Shine the Light. And that came up, I guess I was thinking about the light and thinking about Jesus says that he is the light of the world in John chapter 8. But then I thought even more, God in the beginning said, let there be light. So evidently, to me, that means light is important, at least to God. And since the light is important to God, it should be important to us.
Yeah.
But then one other thing came to mind. You're probably familiar with this passage in Matthew 5, beginning at 14, I believe 14 through 16, where Jesus turns to us as a church, as believers. He was talking, of course, to people in the time that he was on earth. And he says, you are the light of the world. And then he goes on to say, let your light shine. So that's how that came about.
So, Shine the Light is our theme. Our executive minister, Reverend Jared Huguenot, is going to bring a word about the event, but also some registration information. You know, you can begin registering right away.
Well, anytime there's a biennial, it's a chance to get the family together. It's a chance to see people around the region. We have so many different people that it's always nice to see several associations represented in the same room. And so it's always a joy to see people that I get to know out in the field, but then they get to see each other. Well, we're going to have some of our Niagara Area Baptist Association congregations providing some of the special music. The deadline for registration is September 25th. And what we're asking people to do is to go to our website, www.abc-nys.org, and you'll see on the landing page a place where you can click through to the biennial. And there's a dedicated web page where you can sign up for your biennial workshop choices, what parts of the biennial you'll be participating in. And also you have the option to go ahead and pay online or to click a box to send a check later, especially if you and some others are coming from the church and you want to just send one check. That allows that opportunity for one check to pay for 3 or 4 people coming. We also have opportunities for you to sign up for a pre-biennial mission trip with Community Missions of the Niagara Frontier, and that will take place on Friday, October 9th in the afternoon between 1 and 4 p.m. So you can click the box, and then information about that mission team that will be formed by the folks who have signed up will be coming later on in the registration season. We are presuming everybody who's coming, especially for Saturday, will be eating with us at noon. Your registration fee includes that, and we'll be closer to time putting out the menus. One thing that the Buffalo-based members of our planning team said is, there's a great love of the food truck industry in Buffalo. We will have food truck vendors who will give us a preset menu. It's important that people fill out the dietary request form. So if you do have an allergy, you're a diabetic or vegan, vegetarian, as much of that information as we can have up front. We'll be working with our food vendors to make sure that you have a welcoming, tasty meal. And so more information will be shared, but we do have a couple of local food trucks already committed that do a great deal of business in the Buffalo area. And the menus that they have proposed, put out a very interesting cross section of opportunities to have a nice, sandwich meal, and have that time to sit in the fellowship hall, or maybe if it's a nice day, sit outside and talk together, see your friends.
And remember, you can register for the biennial at abc-nys.org at any time now. Next, we have Reverend Cheryl Frank, who is our new Associate Executive Minister.
Well, I am looking forward to the four things in the region notes: worship, fellowship, encouragement, and connection. I'm really looking forward to worship. We have 3 worship services lined up. I know that I go visit a lot of churches that are on the smallish side, so I think it's very exciting when lots of us can come together and worship together. And I'm looking forward to fellowship. I'm looking forward to meeting some new people and meeting some people I've maybe only talked to on the phone or talked to by email or seen on Zoom, and also some people I don't know at all. And also encouragement. I think we can all encourage each other because we are all one church, even though we come from little versions of that church all over the state. I think it's very fun to come together and see what we're doing. And also connection, which goes along with fellowship. I'm especially looking forward to hearing the Pierres, which are the missionaries that we have who are ministering to Haitians in the Dominican Republic. I was always fascinated by missionaries, and they have so much to teach us. I'm looking forward to meeting them and learning about what they have to tell us. I'm looking forward to the workshops. In fact, I'm not even sure which ones I'm going to go to because they all look so good. Technology in the church is always so important. George Stefani is doing one on estranged adult children. 1 in every 8 parent-adult-child relationships is broken, and I would love to hear more about that. I'd also like to hear Steve Reynolds talk about opening the door or closing the window, options for small churches. I know there are so many options that we don't all hear about. Some small churches sell their buildings to community organizations such as food distribution places, and they're still able to worship. So there's a lot of options that I want to hear about that I think would be helpful for people to learn about.
One of the interesting things about this biennial are some of the things that are happening behind the scenes and not necessarily right out front in the sanctuary. Here's a word about some of those things.
Well, the exhibit hall is where you can meet different organizations affiliated with American Baptist churches nationally and regionally. You'll find your friends from ABW, AB Men, AB Youth, ABY. You'll hopefully be seeing some folks from the Office of the General Secretary, ABCUSA, American Baptist Home Mission Societies. Our guest missionaries, the Pierres, will have a table representing their work for international ministries. We'll have Pat Hernandez coming on behalf of the American Baptist Foundation and other entities. One that I'm especially excited to note is we do have a special historic display that will be on premises for the duration of the biennial. The American Baptist Historical Society in Atlanta recently received some grant funding to build some portable displays telling the story of American Baptists being there for those Japanese and Asian Americans who were interned during the Second World War period. It's a powerful story of how our denomination helped in a very critical time in our denomination, and certainly in the critical time of many families who were swept up into that governmental action. And so the Historical Society will be providing that traveling exhibit. And so it'll also be part of it, though it'll probably be in a separate room from the exhibit hall. We have about 12 to 14 exhibitors coming that are confirmed. And so we do want to make sure that we give everybody the legroom they need to talk and visit with the exhibitors, and then also in a separate space, go and see a part of your ABC history you may not have known about. American Baptist Foundation is providing a free breakfast. And so maybe your hotel offers a complimentary breakfast, who knows? But if you would like to come in early from 7 to about 8:30, we'll have coffee and some light refreshments, kind of a continental breakfast that will have a mix of your usual heavy carbs like bagels to the more sensible things your doctor would prefer you eat, like fresh fruit, and be just a time again to mingle, and hope that you'll join us. We again ask that you sign up so we know how many people are coming for breakfast, and hopefully you'll be able to join us and maybe get a jump start seeing the exhibits.
At every biennial, there always is a business meeting. It's an essential part of the biennial. And we'll hear from our current ABCNYS president, Reverend Leon Runner, and he'll fill us in on some of the details.
The business meeting is relatively short. The business portion can at times involve amendments to the bylaws and or the rules of procedure. There are none of those this year, but in 2024 there was one. And then, of course, election of officers, election of new board members, and election of individuals to the Committee on Ministry. Those are the main items, as well as kind of a state of the region address by Reverend Huguenot. And then I have a brief word along a similar vein as president about the region, kind of the past 2 years in review from the previous biennial. There will be prior to the meeting, there will actually be sent from the office an agenda of the meeting where people will be able to look that over. But basically, there are 5 categories of people who can vote according to our bylaws section 3. And of course, there are the delegates that I'll get into briefly in a minute, the officers of the region, members of the Board of Mission, staff members, and also individuals who are ordained American Baptist persons who may not be serving a church as pastor just now. Retired clergy would be one example. And so those are the 5 categories of who gets to vote. Delegates are, according again to the bylaws, every church that has reported on the annual report of having at least 13 members is entitled to two delegates to begin with, the pastor and one other individual. And then every increment of 100 members over that initial 13, you are allotted one additional delegate. However, and then also according to the bylaws, however, churches who are allowed voting delegates must have in some way, shape, or form, to some extent, supported financially the mission of American Baptist churches in the USA. No,
Very
there's
good.
no amount set or anything like that. But so those are kind of the criteria for having delegates. I look forward to the worship services. The business meeting, yes, it is do I dare say the word necessary evil, but very important. But I look forward to the worship time. It's just a blessing to be together with folks who worship the same Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, different expressions of it. And I am especially looking forward to Hector and Lydia's leadership as our worship leaders this year. They're going to do a great job. So that's what I look forward to.
Now, when you come to Buffalo, there are some logistics to think about, and they're always changing from biennial to biennial. Jared's going to fill us in on some of those.
I think most people today go to the apps or the websites, the .coms that they choose when they're planning a vacation or traveling for work or family time. And so the older model where we would have 3 or 4 hotels kind of as convention hotels has become less of a thing. In fact, you may find, based on personal preference, a better deal. And so I would encourage you to go ahead and go online and book your hotel as soon as possible. Uh, we do have a number of hotels that are in the packet that's available in the mail that's going out in August, as well as on our website right now, that list a few hotels within a certain radius of Kenmore Baptist that we know have good reviews and might be in a reasonable price point. But again, we're trying to recognize the fact that logistic planning has become a lot easier and in some ways a lot more competitive. So again, uh, book those rooms once you know the nights you need to be in Buffalo for the event. Well, I'm not as familiar with Buffalo myself in that I, went to Kenmore and was kind of trying to think of myself literally as what's the first time guest or visitor to that area going to see. It's in kind of an urban, but also residential neighborhood. The church does have parking back behind. However, it's limited. And so what we're going to suggest is for those who need the extra accommodation and accessibility, let's leave the ones immediately on the church property for those who need proximity. So basically declare a kind of just for the people who need the handicap spaces, if you will. And then for those of us for whom a 5 or 10 minute walk is possible, there are options. We'll be providing a map of hopefully some public or private lots within reasonable walking distance of the church. There is on-street parking, but the biggest thing is just like anytime you come to an urban area, pay attention to where you are going to park. So make sure you're parked in the appropriate place, the appropriate side of the street for that day of the week, and you'll be fine. But also goes against the Baptist principle of being Baptist. Maybe you do need to plan ahead and plan for some extra time to find parking. One of the biggest things that I think moving forward we need to do as a region is look at those issues and say, can this space reasonably accommodate the different types of people who will come to our events? And accessibility is certainly one of them. The church, when you enter the front of the church, there is a elevator, small elevator that will take you up to or down to the floors. So you walk in and you see the stairs going up to the sanctuary level, and you see the stairs going down to where a lot of the Christian education and fellowship hall are. And just to your left, you'll see the door for getting in and going up or down to access either of those floors. So again, it's one of our values that we make Biennial as accessible as possible and welcoming as possible. And so we're grateful that Kenmore met some of those criteria. So we're looking forward to welcoming everybody this way.
Well, remember, you can register today by going to the website at abc-nys.org and scroll down the page a little bit, and you'll see the link and the information about the biennial, some of the other details there as well. We hope you can plan on attending on that weekend, October 9th through the 10th. We're going to have a wonderful gathering of our Baptist family in the Lord.